दामिनी उजारा शंकर तेरी जटा में, रामा शंकर तेरी जटा में। गलमूल माल राजे शशि भाल में विराजे, गलमूल माल राजे शशि भाल में विराजे, डमरू निनाद बाजे, डमरू निनाद बाजे, कर में त्रिशूल भाला शंकर तेरी जटा में, शंकर तेरी जटा में। बहती है गंगा धारा काली घटा के अंदर, काली घटा के अंदर, जिमी दामिनी उजारा शंकर तेरी जटा में। जगतीन तेज राशि गति बांधनाथ पाशी, जगतीन तेज राशि गति बांधनाथ पाशी, गिरिजा है संगदासी, गिरिजा है संगदासी, सब विश्व के उधारा शंकर तेरी जटा में, शंकर तेरी जटा में। बहती है गंगा धारा काली घटा के अंदर, काली घटा के अंदर, जिमी दामिनी उजारा शंकर तेरी जटा में। मृगु चरम वसन धारी विषराज पे सवारी, मृगु चरण वसन धारी विषराज पे सवारी, निज भक्त दुख हारी, निज भक्त दुख हारी, कैलाश में विहारा शंकर तेरी जटा में, शिव शंकर तेरी जटा में। बहती है गंगा धारा काली घटा के अंदर, काली घटा के अंदर, जिमी दामिनी उजारा शंकर तेरी जटा में। शिव नाम जो उचारे सब पाप दोष तारे, शिव नाम जो उचारे सब पाप दोष तारे। Whoever chants and says the name of Shiva, सब पाप दोष तारे, will be relieved of all their sins and will be assisted with crossing over Brahmananda Navisari Bhavasindu Paratari. And the Lord Shiva himself will help us to cross to the other side. शिव नाम जो उचारे सब पाप दोष तारे, शिव नाम जो उचारे सब पाप दोष तारे। ब्रह्मानंद नाम सारे, ब्रह्मानंद शंकर तेरी जटा में, शिव शंकर तेरी जटा में। Namaste, Sitaram, and a very, very warm welcome to Kuladeva Lay Pitri Tirtha Shrine, built in honor of the ancestors. As I said last night, not just only our ancestors, but ancestors in general, and in particular ancestors in this community where we all grew up. I thank each and every one of you for being here last night, and also many persons who joined us on the Facebook from Canada, the UK, England at that hour, and other parts of the world. I want to say a special hello to a very great friend of ours, Nal Singh, who said she joined us last night from New Orleans. And also people joined you from Brampton in Canada last night. Let's thank all of them, you know, and as much as we are here, I think they feel very good to join the devotional exercise here and be part of this live audience that we have here. So again, I thank you very much, and of course Anand would lead us off this evening. Before we do that, last night I had asked Antiocha to light the ceremonial deer. Tonight I'm going to ask Geeta and Nandini to light 2 deers, because they also have ancestors, they join these families. So tonight Geeta will light on behalf of her family, Nandi will light on behalf of her family, and Ishan, you will light on behalf of your family, the 3 deers, while we sing this particular bhajan. कर हमारा संसार के रचैया, दुख दूर कर हमारा संसार कर जया, जल्दी से सो सहारा मझदार में है नैया, दुख दूर कर हमारा संसार के रचैया, जल्दी से दो सहारा मझदार में है नैया, दुख दूर कर हमारा। Send away all our pains, O Creator of the world. Please give us help quickly, so that our boat will not be caught in midstream, but we will safely cross to your side. तुम बिन कोई हमारा रक्षक नहीं यहाँ पर, तुम बिन कोई हमारा रक्षक नहीं यहाँ पर, ढूंढा जहाँ सहारा तुम सा नहीं रखैया, दुख दूर कर हमारा संसार के रचैया। दुनिया में खूब देखा आंखें फैला करके, दुनिया में खूब देखा आंखें फैला करके, साथी नहीं हमारा माँ बाप और भैया, दुख दूर कर हमारा संसार के रचैया। कर रहे, साथी नहीं हमारा, माँ बाप और भैया। We have seen the world with open eyes. None stayed with us. Not mother, not father, not brother. सुख के सभी है साथी, दुनिया के मित्र सारे। सुख के सभी ही साथी, दुनिया के मित्र सारे। तेरा ही नाम प्यारा, दुख दर्द के बचैया। दुख दुख हमारा संसार में रचैया। दुनिया में फास हमको हासिल हुआ न कुछ भी। दुनिया में फास हमको हासिल हुआ न कुछ भी। तेरे बिना हमारा कोई नहीं सुनैया। दूर करे हमारा संसार है रचैया। जल्दी से दो सहारा, मझदार में है नैया। दूर करे हमारा चारों तरफ से हम पर गम की घटा है चाहिए। चारों तरफ से हम पर गम की घटा है चाहिए। सुख का करो उजाला, प्रकाश के करैया। दुख दूर करो हमारा, संसार में रचैया। दुख दूर करो हमारा। अच्छा बुरा है जैसा राजी में राम रहता। अच्छा बुरा है जैसा राजी में राम रहता। किया है तुम्हारा सुध ले सुध लेवा। तेरा है तुम्हारा सुध ले सुध लेवा। दुख दूर कर हमारा, संसार के रचैया। जल्दी से दो सहारा, मझदार में है नैया। दुख दूर कर हमारा। वक्रतुंड महाकाय, सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ। निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव, सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। आदिपूज्यं गणाध्यक्षम् उमापुत्रं विनायकं, मंगलं परमं रूपं श्रीगणेशं नमाम्यहम्। मंगलं परमं विघ्नेश्वर जय जय, जय लंबोदर जय जय, नायक जय सुखदायक जय जय गणेश जय जय, विघ्नेश्वर जय जय, जय लंबोदर जय जय, जय गणनायक जय सुखदायक जय जय गणेश जय जय। जय शक्ति माँ जय जय, जय ज्योतिर्माँ जय जय, जय शक्ति माँ जय जय, जय ज्योतिर्माँ जय जय, जय पाप नाशिनी मुक्तिदायिनी जय जय दुर्गा जय, जय विघ्नेश्वर जय जय, जय लंबोदर जय जय, जय गणनायक जय सुखदायक जय जय गणेश जय जय। जय पवन पुत्र जय जय, जय रामदूत जय जय, जय पवन पुत्र जय जय, जय रामदूत जय जय, जय पवन पुत्र जय जय, जय रामदूत जय जय, जय पवन पुत्र जय जय, जय रामदूत जय जय, जय शक्तिमान बजरंग बाण जय हनुमान जय जय, जय विघ्नेश्वर जय जय, जय लंबोदर जय जय, जय गणनायक जय सुखदायक जय जय गणेश जय जय। जय राधे श्याम जय जय, जय सीताराम जय जय, जय राधे श्याम जय जय, जय सीताराम जय जय, जय राधे श्याम जय जय, जय सीताराम जय जय, जय राधे श्याम जय जय, जय सीताराम जय जय, जय गोपीनाथ जय विश्वनाथ जय राम कृष्ण जय जय, जय विघ्नेश्वर जय जय, जय लंबोदर जय जय, जय गणनायक जय सुखदायक जय जय गणेश जय जय। जय उमाकांत जय जय, कैलाशपति जय जय, जय उमाकांत जय जय, कैलाशपति जय जय,
उमाकांत जय जय, कैलाशपति जय जय,
जय उमाकांत जय जय, कैलाशपति जय जय,
जय महाकाल
लोचन विशाल जय शिव शंकर जय जय, जय विघ्नेश्वर जय जय, जय लंबोदर जय जय, जय गणनायक जय सुखदायक जय जय गणेश जय जय, जय विघ्नेश्वर जय जय, जय लंबोदर जय जय, जय गणनायक जय सुखदायक जय जय गणेश जय जय,
जय जय गणेश जय
जय जय गणेश जय जय।
रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे, रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। भज ले राम का नाम, तो भज ले राम नाम, भज ले राम का नाम, तो भज ले राम नाम,
भज ले राम का नाम, तू भज ले राम नाम, भज ले राम का नाम, तू भज ले राम नाम।
राम नाम के दो अक्षर में,
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 चारों लोक चारों धाम,
भजो रे भाई रघुराई, तेरा पार करेंगे राम। भज ले राम का नाम, तू भज ले राम नाम, भज ले राम का नाम, तू भज ले राम नाम।
राम बिना कछु और न भाए,
राम बिना कछु और न भाए,
जब जब मन का धीरज टूटे,
जब जब मन का धीरज टूटे,
राम नाम हो तो पर आए,
राम नाम हो तो पर आए,
जब तक चल है ये जीवन है,
जब तक तन है ये जीवन है,
जब तक तन है ये जीवन है,
जब तक तन है ये जीवन है,
कर ले बस ये काम,
भजो रे भाई रघुराई, तेरा पार करेंगे राम। भज ले राम का नाम, तू भज ले राम नाम, भज ले राम का नाम, तू भज ले राम नाम।
मेरे मन मंदिर के भीतर लखन सिया संग राम विराजे।
मेरे मन मंदिर के भीतर लखन सिया संग राम विराजे।
सावली सूरत जब जब देखो सासों की मंजीरा बाजे।
सावली सूरत जब जब देखो सासों का मंदिर बाजे।
बड़े भाग्य जो मेरे हैं,
बड़े भाग्य जो मेरे में,
ओ बड़े भाग्य जो मेरे मैंने पाया ये वरदान।
भजन भाई रघुराई तेरा पार करेंगे राम।
भजले राम का नाम, भजले राम नाम। भजले राम का नाम, भजले राम नाम।
सुर मुनि जिसकी महिमा गाते,
सुर मुनि जिसकी महिमा गाते,
जिसके छूने भर से ही तो
जिसके छूने भर से ही तो
पत्थर भी जीवन पा जाते।
पत्थर भी जीवन पा जाते।
नाम उसी का रखता है मन,
नाम उसी का रखता है मन,
नाम उसी का रखता है मन।
नाम उसी का रखता है मन।
सुबह हो या शाम,
भजन भाई रघुराई तेरा पार करेंगे राम। भजन राम का नाम, भजन राम नाम। भजन राम का नाम, भजन राम
केवट को भी गले लगाया,
केवट को भी गले लगाया।
शबरी के झूठे बेरों में,
शबरी के झूठे बेरों में,
केवट को भी गले लगाया।
केवट को भी गले लगाया।
शबरी के झूठे बेरों में,
शबरी के झूठे बेरों में,
परम भक्ति का रस जो पाया।
परम भक्ति का रस जो पाया।
उसके लिए है एक बराबर,
उसके लिए है एक बराबर।
उसके लिए है एक बराबर।
उसके लिए
है एक बराबर।
निर्धन और धनवान,
भजन
भाई रघुराई
मेरा पार
करेंगे राम।
भजले राम का नाम, भजले राम नाम।
भजन राम का नाम, भजन राम नाम।
भजले राम का नाम,
भजन राम नाम। भजन राम का नाम, भजन राम नाम।
So, my dear sisters and brothers, Namaste and Sitaram to each one of you. We're very happy that you have joined us tonight for satsang. These are 2 nights of satsang we're having during this sacred time for us in the Hindu calendar, the season of Pitri, when we remember with love and gratitude our ancestors, members of our family who have blessed our lives but who are no longer with us physically. As I said last night, these 2 nights of satsang I have given the name Ishwarasya Prema, the love of God. Ishwara is God, Ishwarasya of God, Prema is love. So we're having 2 nights of satsang on this topic. Satsang is a very beautiful gathering, a coming together of people. And in the Ramcharitmanas, the author, the poet says, Binu satsang vivekana hoi, that without this coming together to study and learn together, there is no growth in wisdom. This is where we grow in wisdom. We come together to learn, and he adds, Ram bina kripa sulabna soi, that without the grace of God, such gatherings are not possible. So when we come in satsang, we come to seek, to search for wisdom, to learn, and we always have to keep our minds on what is important and what is significant. I have a very interesting story to tell you about this. In 1975, it's a long time ago, 50 years ago, I gave 21 lectures on chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita at the Gandhi Ashram, the Krishna Mandir on Todd Street. Some of you were there. Suraj was there, and Gita was there. Balrup, who's passed away,
The group was there.
was there for those 20 nights. Very intensive study of the Bhagavad Gita. And in those years when I would give public teaching sessions, I would always have some time at the end of the lecture when we'd have an open microphone, and audience members who wanted to come would come forward and ask me questions. So we'd also have a dialogue and a conversation, which I enjoyed and appreciated very much. So each night people came forward, and after I would discuss some verses, they came with relevant questions about the different verses. On the final night of this Yagna, one person said, I have a burning question after studying the 70-odd verses of chapter 2 with you. So I was expecting a particularly deep, philosophical, theological question. And he said to me, how many horses did Arjuna's chariot have? How many horses were there in the chariot of Arjuna? And for him, this was the most important question, I guess. So I came up with an answer. I never counted the horses myself because I didn't think it was particularly significant as far as the Bhagavad Gita is concerned. But I came up with an answer, and I said that there were 10 horses. Because I was thinking, well, maybe I should give him something that is satisfactory. So I said, because traditionally, the horses represent the sense organs and the organs of action. So I said, 5 sense organs, 5 organs of action. I said 10 horses. And he was very happy. He got his question answered. So I learned on that day also that you should not take for granted that what you consider important as a teacher, your listener or your student might also think of as important. So we listen attentively, we focus on what is important. We might disagree, but we should always disagree after understanding. And this is why we have a very beautiful, whenever we come to study together with teachers, we have a very beautiful Upanishad mantra that we chant before we begin to study. One you are all familiar with. Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Sahana Bhavatu, may God protect us as we sit together in satsang. Sahanau Bhunaktu, may God nourish us, may God provide what we need for our sustenance. Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai. When we come together to learn, may we do so vigorously, viryam. May we be vigorous, passionate about our learning. May we bring our heart and minds to learning. Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvina Vadhit. May our learning shine in us. Ma vid vishavahai. May we not hate each other. May we not misunderstand, and because of misunderstanding, may we not hate each other. A very beautiful way to study. All of you are familiar because we use it very loosely. In Yagnas, we speak of the srotas. And a srota means a person who listens, who's come to listen. Now we use the word srota for those who are performing the rituals. But technically in Sanskrit, a srota is one who listens to the sruti. We call a srota is one who listens to the words of the sruti. That's how we get the word srota, a listener to the sacred words of the text. So we are all, everyone who comes to a satsang is a srota. Not only the small group sitting and performing the ritual. Everyone is a srota, a listener. So, last night I spoke about two qualities of divine love. And I used the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, verse 29. And you will remember that the two qualities were that God's love is impartial. And we talked about that, those famous 4 words. Let me hear.
Samoham sarva bhuteshu.
Exactly. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. The divine says, I love all equally. Sama means in the same way, and equally, I love all beings. And we spoke about the fact that God has no favorites. Whether it's a favorite of race or class or caste or nation, God sees, the divine sees equally. And that verse reminds us of that. And it spoke to those who regard themselves as superior to others, thinking falsely that they are God's favorites, and to those who are made to feel lesser in value. This verse also speaks, I see all equally. So God loves impartially, but as we said, God also loves personally. The impartial divine enters into personal relationships to those of us who open our hearts in love. Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. So tonight I want to speak about 2 other qualities of divine love. So you must keep all the qualities in mind. God loves impartially, God loves personally, and tonight I want to say that God's love is forgiving and God's love is transforming. Those are the 2 characteristics of divine love I want to speak about tonight. And I'm going to return back to the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and speak about verses 30 and verses 31. And then I want to tell you an incident from the Bhagavatam, from Ramayana, and thirdly, a third incident from another sacred text. So first of all, let us look at the foundation verses for our discussion tonight, chapter 9, verse 30 and 31. Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Api chet sudurachara bhajate mam ananya bhat. Api chet sudurachara bhajate mam ananya bhat. Sadhureva samantavyam samyak vyavasito hi saha. Sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha. Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shanti nigacchati. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Sri Krishna Sharanam
Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
These are very important verses from Bhagavad Gita. Every word follows in very beautiful sequence of meaning. So he begins apichet. Apichet means even if. Even if. And then he uses the word durachara. Durachara. Durachara means one who does evil deeds is called durachara. One who does a wrongdoer. But he adds a little Sanskrit prefix and he says sudurachara. Sudurachara. So it gives superlative. Even if the one who is most evil, sudurachara, the greatest doer of improper deeds, of wrongful deeds, apichet sudurachara, bhajate mam ananya bhak, turns to me, comes to me with, again important words, bhajate mam, turns to me, to the divine, ananya bhak. How does he turn? With consistent love. Consistent love. Not sporadic, not momentary, but consistent love. Consistent love. Sadhureva samantavya. Immediately, Krishna says, I regard such a person as virtuous, as good. Sadhu. Sadhureva. In my eyes, that person is virtuous. That person is good. Not because he or she has suddenly become a perfect human being. Why does he say, I regard this person as virtuous? because samyak vyavasita, because of his or her right intention, the desire to become good. Because the heart has now begun a process of transformation. The transformation has not been accomplished, but there is a turning, moral turning of the mind and heart. The intention, there's a transformation of intention, and because of that transformation, that's what I see, he says. I'm looking at the heart, what the heart is now desiring. The heart is desiring to become good. And so I regard that person, samyak vyavasitaha, because the person has the right intention, right is resolved. The heart direction is now right. And this is what God sees. Because sometimes transformation takes time. The movement from durachara to sadachara, that's the opposite. The movement from being durachara to sadachara takes time. It's a process of transformation, but the transformation begins in the heart. And when the heart is rightly transformed, God sees this change and wants to nurture it, to encourage it. And this is what he means. I regard this person as good. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. Such a person will become good. He says, Shipram bhavati, there's no doubt. If the resolve is right, the intention is right, he becomes, and he uses a very beautiful word, dharmatma. Dharma atma means this inner self is now virtuous. It's become dharmatma. The inner self is now aligned with virtue, harmonized. One whose self is harmonized with virtue, with goodness, is called dharmatma. Dharmatma. Because the self is now in line with virtue. A true transformation has taken place. So what's happened? The papatma has become dharmatma. The sinful heart has now become papatma, has become dharmatma. Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shanti nigacchati. And such a person will attain peace. Shashvat, through peace, because of virtue. Shashvat shanti nigacchati. And then he makes a very beautiful promise in Bhagavad Gita, which we should all remember. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. And this is the promise he says, I give to everyone, that anyone who comes to me in love will not be destroyed. Pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. My devotee will never be destroyed. What we have here in the Bhagavad Gita, why these two verses are so important for us, is that they are deep teachings, spiritual teachings of hope. In our Hindu tradition, no one is eternally condemned. No one is eternally condemned. There is no eternal punishment. There is always the hope of transformation, always the hope of growth. That opportunity is always there. The opportunity to open your heart, our hearts in love to the divine, and to allow a process of transformation to occur is one that is always available to us. And no human being is eternally condemned. There is no eternal condemnation in the Hindu tradition. There is always hope. There is always opportunity for that deep transformation to take place. It's open to anyone, and it's open to everyone. This is what, in this verse we see what divine love does. It is forgiving, as you can see, and he emphasizes that it's transforming. The Papatma becomes Dharmatma. So there's a transformation through divine embrace, through divine forgiveness. Because I tell you, if we truly know what divine love is, if we truly experience it, we will not be the same human beings. We will be transformed. We will become more loving beings. We will become more compassionate beings, because then we begin to reflect divine love and divine compassion. So with those two foundational verses from the Bhagavad Gita about divine love as forgiving and as transforming, I want to share with you, first of all, a narrative from Srimad Bhagavatam. You may read this. It's from the 6th chapter of the Bhagavatam. I don't know, perhaps some of you might have heard of this very interesting story about a man named Ajamila. When a sacred text preserves a story, it means it's something that it wants to, something important that it wants to communicate. And so this is the story of Ajamila. There's some unpleasant aspects to it, but I'm being faithful to the text. So Ajamila was born in a priestly family. His father was a priest. In those days, we would say that Ajamila was born into a Brahmin family. His father, his grandfather were priests. And Ajamila was also training to be a priest. So he came from a very good priestly home, a home steeped in religious ritual and practice. Young man, very learned, practicing the path of righteousness and virtue and dharma, learning and studying the scriptures and performing traditional rituals. And he had earned the respect of his parents and his elders in the community. But, Bhagavad Gita says in an interesting verse in the 2nd chapter, Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha. He says that sometimes, he's saying to Arjuna, sometimes unusual things happen. And Ajamila so the Gita, yatato hyapi kaunteya, even those who are the best, yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya, who are walking the path of truth, indriyani pramathini haranti prasabhammana. Even such persons can easily, like being caught in the gust of a wind, can be swept off their feet by temptations. And this is what happened to Ajamila. So Ajamila fell in love. This is what the text says. I'm quoting the text. He fell in love with a prostitute and left his family home to live with the prostitute. And because of this, Ajamila was immediately rejected by his community and by his family. But he was deeply in love with this woman, and he moved in to live with her. But now he could no longer earn his living by performing priestly duties, because no one would invite him to perform a ritual or to perform a samskara or a yagna. And soon he started to have a family. In the Bhagavatam we are told he had 10 children. So he had to find a way to support his family. And so Ajamil took to a life of crime. He gave up the path of dharma, the path of virtue, and in order to support his family, he lived a life of crime, cheating, corrupt practices, and so on. And that's how he sustained his family. His youngest, he was particularly fond of his youngest son. And he named his youngest son from his, recollecting the priestly life he lived. He gave him the name Narayana. Narayana, he gave him a name of God. And this boy was the apple, as we say, the apple of his eye as he grew older in age. And Bhagavata said, whenever Ajamil sat to eat, he wanted Narayana with him. So he would share his food. If he would have a drink of water, he would share some with his youngest child. So he was always calling the boy to be with him. And so the years passed like this, living a life of crime, but deeply attracted to his youngest boy, Narayana. And soon he attained the age in Bhagavatam, 88 years old. So he lived most of his life in this way, Ajamila. One day, Bhagavatam says, 3 fierce-looking beings Ajamil saw in his room. 3 very fierce, frightful living beings in his room. They were carrying ropes like nooses in their hands, and they were calling him. So he recognized them, and we say as Yamadutas, as the messengers of death, of Yama. This is how the messengers of death are symbolically represented in our tradition, as very frightful beings who have the pasha, the noose, they come to take you away. So in Bhagavatam, he sees these 3 awkward-looking people. The text says they were deformed bodily features, fierce, twisted faces, hairs standing erect on their bodies with ropes in their hands. They came to take him away to the abode of Yamaraj, because they are the Yamadutas, the messengers of death. Now, because of his attachment to his youngest son, Ajamila started to call him very loudly. He didn't know what to do, so he called out to his son, Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. He took the name of the youngest boy. Out of fear, he took the name of his son. And with tears flowing down his eyes. And when he took the name of his youngest boy, Bhagavatam said, 3 other messengers came into the room. And they were Vishnu Dutas. They were the messengers of Vishnu. Because they heard this man, Ajamila, calling Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. So in response, they came to see who was taking the name of the divine name and who was calling. So the 3 messengers of Vishnu came into the room, and in this room also were the Yamdutas, the 3 messengers of death. A very dramatic situation in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I found the description to be so gripping and so interesting. So they saw the Yamadutas trying to take the spirit or the soul, whatever word you want to use, of Ajamila. And they said, "Stop!" They stopped. The Yamadutas, they forbade him from taking the soul of Ajamila. But the Yamadutas did not want to give up so easily. Who are you? We have come for him. We have come because he has lived such a terrible life of crime and corruption, and he deserves to go with us. We were sent here by Yama for him. Who are you to intervene and to stop us? What audacity do you have? This is not your jurisdiction. So there was an argument. Who do you serve? Who is your master? So the two groups started to have an argument about rights. Who has a right over this man's soul? Who has a right over this man's spirit? They are arguing, who are you to obstruct the will of Yamaraj, the Lord of justice, who has sent us? So there's a very long section, very interesting section, if you want to read, about the debate between the Yamadutas and the Vishnu Dutas about who has power over this man's soul. So the almost like a court case in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Yamadutas started to give a long list of all of the crimes of Ajamila and said, "This here, look at the record. It's very clear. This is what he has done. X, Y, Z. Calculate. You can calculate his adharma, his demerits. He belongs to us. We have come for him." But the Vishnu Dutas, they stood very firm, and they proclaimed, "But he called out the name of God. He took the name of Narayana. At this moment, he called out to Narayana, and when the name of Narayana is taken, God responds. We were sent here by Lord Vishnu for him. Whether the name is chanted with knowledge or without knowledge, but the name is powerful, and Ajamila uttered this name. Therefore, we have a right to this man. He belongs to us." So they go back and forth, arguing in this way. The messengers of God saying, "But God is compassionate, and He's taken the name of God. He belongs to us." Eventually, as you could probably anticipate or imagine, the Yamadutas lost the argument, and they gave up, and they handed Ajamila over to Vishnu Dutas. But the story says that even though they had come to take him, this was the time of his death, but when they handed him to the servants of God, the Vishnu Dutas, he got a reprieve from death. Forgiveness and transformation. He got a reprieve from death. And it was given a few more years to live. And Ajamila used those years. He went to live in Haridwar. He moved to Haridwar. He got a place on the banks of the Ganges and devoted himself for the remaining few years given to him by God for study, religious practice, to become Dharmatma, to transform himself back into the virtuous being that he really was. So he was full of gratitude for this opportunity to journey to the holy city and to engage in religious practice. His heart was full of gratitude, and he departed to Haridwar. Now, that's a brief summary of the story of Ajamila from Srimad Bhagavatam. The point is, even a lifetime of wrong is not beyond God's reach. Even though Ajamila did not take God's name intentionally calling God, but because he had named his son Narayana, and he took the name of Narayana, it was enough for the divine. It is more a story of divine love than it is about Ajamila. That even the name of God taken unintentionally is still a powerful, transformative name. So, even though I'm sharing the story of Ajamila with you, there are many ways in which it could be misread. There are many ways in which this story could be read wrongly. So one might say, okay, beautiful, I can cite Ajamila's story. All I have to do is to name one of my child, Vishnu or Rama or Krishna or Durga or Saraswati, and to make sure that when Yamdut comes to me, I will call out the name of this child and I will be saved from death. But that would be a wrong reading of the story. In other words, if you are so concerned, about taking the name of God at the time of death, why just not do that? Why depend on naming a child to do that? So that would be a wrong reading of the story. We should not think, as some people unfortunately do think, that I can live my life as I wish, and at the end, I just have to utter God's name and I'll be okay. That's a wrong reading of Ajamila's story. It misses the point. Because Ajamila, and that's why I said the story has this ending. He did not return after this experience with the messengers of God. He did not return to the life of crime and corruption. He went to Haridwar as a transformed human being and devoted the rest of his life to seeking God. Divine forgiveness. I should repeat that. Divine forgiveness is not a permission to engage in wrongful action. Divine forgiveness is a power to be transformed for a changed way of being. The second wrong way I think we could read this is that taking the name of God is not a mechanical utterance. It is not as though the name is a magic spell that would save us, in that final moment. The fact is, we will not turn our hearts and minds to God at the moment of death if we have not turned our hearts and minds to God throughout our lives. But what is so important in Ajamila's story is that God's love seizes even the smallest opening to restore and to give a lost soul another opportunity. And we'll see it in other stories. Ajamila's sins were real, and this is why Yamaduta came to claim him. They had some rights to him because of the life that he led. But what was happening in that room at the time, we can say, is that God's mercy met justice and mercy won out, which happens often. Compassion, mercy triumphed there in the room on his deathbed, mercy triumphed over justice. The second incident that I want to mention to you again about forgiveness and transformation is one that I'm sure you know very well. This is from Ramayana. And this is the story, a very brief story, very brief summary of the original author of Ramayana, Valmiki. And as you might know, before he became Valmiki, he was Ratnakara. That was his name, Ratnakara. He was a highway robber. The author of the Ramayana, Valmiki, was a robber, a highway robber in his early life. This is how he also, like Ajamila, was earning the resources to take care of his family. But one day, we're told, he tried to rob a sage, Narada, who was traveling in the forests. And Narada said, before you take my possessions, I have one question to ask you. What you are doing, you know this is sinful. This is papa. This is sinful. And he says, yes, I know that. And why are you doing it? Why have you chosen this way? He said, I've chosen this way because this is how I support my family. And Narada told him, he asked him this question, do you think your family will also share with you the papa, the effects, the negative karma that these kinds of actions are accumulating? And that question awoke him. It was like a moment of awakening for Valmiki. But he had spent all of his life in crime. But with that question, he suddenly felt the weight of his actions. And Narada said, there is a way out. Turn. You can turn away now from this life of crime. And here is the way. Take the name of Ram. Sincerely, as we saw in Bhagavad Gita, Ananya Bhav, continuously center yourself on, turn your heart, orient your heart and your mind to God, with God's name, Ram. But he had lived such an unrighteous life that he could not even say the word Ram. So, because Narada asked him to repeat, he gave it to him as a mantra. Here is the mantra I gave to you, a single word mantra, Rama. Meditate on this name. And as a criminal, he could not even recall or meditate on that name. And Narada saw his struggle. So he says, okay, Valmiki, if you cannot say Rama, reverse it. Try saying the opposite. Mara. Why don't you try say Mara? So he tried it and he could say Mara. He could not say Rama, but he could say Mara. And if you say it often enough, it soon becomes Rama, Mara becomes Rama. So, with a sincere heart, after meeting Narada, Valmiki devoted himself. Ratnakar at that time devoted himself to the divine name. And he got the name Valmiki because it means anthill. And it was said that he would sit for such long times repeating God's name that the ants, he became unaware even as the ants walked on his body. And so those who saw him called him Valmiki, the one on whom ants crawled. And so Ratnakar became Valmiki, the great sage who wrote the first Ramayana. So here is the story. This is a story important. It's a story of transformation. A transformed life through his encounter with a saint and devoting himself to religious practice and to God's name. Divine love can turn a destroyer of life into a preserver of virtue and goodness. The last that I want to share with you tonight comes from Valmiki's story, comes from the Valmiki Ramayana, the Sanskrit, original Sanskrit. This story is from Ramcharitmanas, Tulsidas. I'm not sure how many of you have paid attention to this particular part of the text. But you know the story of Ramayana, Ravana's abduction of Sita and so on, which was a grievous offense and brought these Sri Ram and Ravana to a battle. But what we don't often talk about, we know, we have Yuddha Kand, Lanka Kand, where there was the big battle between Rama and Ravana. But what we don't often note are the number of occasions that Ram gave to Ravana to repent. All the opportunities he gave him. It was not a fight that he wanted. So we can just recount a few. He sent Hanuman to him, asking him, let's sort this thing out peacefully. And Hanuman's famous words, Pranata Pala Raghunayaka Karuna Sindhu Kharari Gaye Sharan Prabhu Rakheyu Tava Aparada Bisari. These are the words that Ram sent to Ravana with Hanuman as his messenger. Pranata Pala Raghunayaka, that God is the protector of those who come to him with love. He is Karuna Sagar, he is the ocean of compassion, the ocean of mercy. Gaye Sharana, go to him. Come to me, go to him. Gaye Sharana Prabhu Rakheyu. And he would immediately welcome you, receive you. Tava aparada bisari, and forget your offenses. This was Hanuman's pleading with him. Take this opportunity. Sri Ram is opening the door to you. Tava aparada bisari. He will forget what you have done because he is Karuna Sagar. When that didn't work, even on the battlefield itself, in Lanka Kand, it's a very powerful scene. The battlefield of Lanka was alive with the sound of warriors, the clanging of weapons, the flashing of arrows like streaks of lightning in the sky. And in the midst of it all, Ram stood calm and composed, his bow ready, but yet his heart free of hatred and violence. And there across from him is Ravana, represented as 10-headed, fierce and proud, and his eyes blazing with ambition and desire. And Ram spoke to him. Even through all the sounds of battle, Ram addressed him. Ravana, you are mighty and you are learned, yet your mind is clouded with arrogance. To hold Sita against her will is an act of adharma. It is papa. Release her now and save yourself from ruin. So even on battlefield, he's asking him, release her. There's no need for this war. And Ram, his words continued, power alone does not protect the unrighteous. I don't fight you out of hatred, Ravana, but out of fidelity, loyalty to Dharma. Let Sita go. This is what this fight is about. Let her go. Return to your kingdom. Repent and live in honor. Again, giving him the opportunity to turn away. And thus, the stage was set and Ram's mercy was offered. But Ravana made his own choices, and it became, as you know, a battle. He refused all of Ram's offers for peace and forgiveness and for transformation. So, even though God offers God's love and God's forgiveness, it has also to be accepted. The human heart also has to be receptive and to be open. So we have three very powerful stories tonight. Ajamila, that even a lifetime of wrong is not beyond God's reach. A single moment of turning, however imperfect, taking the name of God even unintentionally, created an opening for divine intervention in his life. And Valmiki, divine love, can turn a destroyer of life into a preserver of Dharma, into beauty. And then Ravana. We see here the difference between redemption offered and redemption refused. The closing of the human heart to this opportunity. So these are the two qualities of divine love that I wanted to emphasize tonight, using the verse of the Bhagavad Gita and these three incidents, Ajamila, Valmiki, and Ravana as an example of a refusal of divine forgiveness and the opportunity for redemption and for transformation. I want to close because I think there's one point that would be a substantial discussion, but I just want to mention it briefly because I know a lot of people think about the relationship between the divine as forgiving and transforming and karma. So the question is, very briefly, where does karma fit into all of this project? If God truly protects God's devotees, why do they still suffer the effects of karma? So I just make a few points, but probably a topic that we can take up in greater detail later on. So certainly, the teaching about karma is very central to our Hindu tradition. The law of karma is part of the moral order, the moral structure of the universe. It is a just and impartial system created and sustained by God for preserving the moral order of the universe, but ultimately for helping us all to grow spiritually and to grow in knowledge and wisdom. And even if you're a devotee, you still have to live within this order of karma. Actions have consequences, moral actions have moral consequences. Experiencing being open to divine love experiencing divine love as forgiving and experiencing divine love as transforming does not mean immediately, let me repeat that, does not mean immediately that one is free from the consequences of one's action. I can have a child, and I could be extremely kind to my child. If my child has done and engaged in wrong action, as a parent, I can forgive my child. I can seek to transform my child with whatever abilities and powers that I may have. I could try to pull my child back from the path of wrongful action. It doesn't always mean that my child is free from the consequences of the choices that my child has made. Because there is a law also. Even as there is a legal system here to which we are all subject, there is also a cosmic moral system to which we are all subject. And being subject to that moral law of karma does not exclude God's forgiveness and God's transforming role in our life. Both can exist side by side. It doesn't mean that once we open our hearts to God, we're no longer responsible for the actions that we have performed. But let me say that, as I've said before, that karma is God's moral law, and we should not put limit on God's ability to forgive. God can exercise and supervise the law of karma in a merciful and compassionate way and respond to our pleas for God's mercy also. We should not rule out that God's mercy is even more powerful than the law of karma. But when that does not happen, what we should know is when our hearts are open to God in love, that even when we experience the consequences of our actions, we don't do it alone. We now have a divine presence with us, always with us. Even as we experience the consequences of action, we do so embraced in divine love. And this is what we see in our great teachers. Sri Ramakrishna, the guru of Vivekananda, suffered a great deal in the last years of his life because of throat cancer, at a time when there was little medical intervention that could be done for throat cancer. But his devotees regarded him as such a powerful teacher that they said to him, including Vivekananda, because he was a devotee of the divinest Kali. And they said, Master, if you would pray to Kali to heal you, to free you from this cancer, she would. Why don't you pray? Why don't you ask her to free you from the suffering of your cancer? You are the greatest among us all. As a devotee, she would run to your aid if you would only call. And he was upset with them. And he said, my mind is at the feet of Kali, always. My heart and my mind are at the feet of Kali. If she wants to cure me, she will. If she doesn't, my heart and my mind remains at her feet. It is her will. It is her will. The same with a great teacher, Sri Ramana Maharishi. They never prayed to be freed from the effects of karma. They always prayed to be always united with divine. To be with the divine, not necessarily to be, doesn't mean necessarily to be freed from the effects of karma. Ramana Maharishi also suffered a very painful cancer to his arm. He had surgery without anesthetics, repeatedly surgery without anesthetics, but would never pray to be healed. If there was a prayer for him, it was always to be awake all the time to the divine. To the divine. That's what, surrender to divine will means. So I leave you with those words tonight. Ishwarasya prema. The love of God is impartial, it is personal. The love of God is forgiving. The love of God is transforming. Those are the 4 qualities that I ask that you remember. And so we'll close with a few lines of kirtan and then pass back to Suraj. जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल, 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 जय राधा रमन हरि बोल, जय 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 जय राधा रमन हरि बोल। मन तेरा बोले राधे कृष्णा, 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 जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल। पंछी बोले राधे कृष्णा, भंवरे बोले राधे कृष्णा, पंछी बोले राधे कृष्णा, भंवरे बोले राधे कृष्णा, जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल। बंसी बोले राधे कृष्णा, वीणा बोले राधे कृष्णा, बंसी बोले राधे कृष्णा, वीणा बोले राधे कृष्णा, जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल। वृंदावन में राधे कृष्णा, बरसाने में राधे कृष्णा, वृंदावन में राधे कृष्णा, बरसाने में राधे कृष्णा, जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल, जय जय
हरि बोल। जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल।
जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल। हर हर शंकर सांब सदा शिव ईशा महेशा।
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 तांडव प्रिय हरचंद्र कलाधर ईशा महेशा।
तांडव प्रिय हरचंद्र कलाधर ईशा महेशा।
अम्बासुत लंबोदर वंदित ईशा महेशा।
अम्बासुत लंबोदर वंदित ईशा महेशा।
अम्बासुत लंबोदर वंदित ईशा महेशा। गहिमाचल श्रृंग निवासित तुंग
हिमाचल शृंग निवासित
ईशा महेशा।
हिमाचल शृंग निवासित ईशा महेशा।
हर हर शंकर सांब सदा शिव ईशा महेशा।
हर हर शंकर सांब सदा शिव ईशा महेशा।
तांडव प्रिय हरचंद्र कलाधर ईशा महेशा।
तांडव प्रिय हरचंद्र कलाधर ईशा महेशा।
तुंग हिमाचल अम्बासुत
लंबोदर वंदित ईशा महेशा। अम्बासुत लंबोदर वंदित ईशा महेशा।
तुंग हिमाचल श्रृंग निवासित
तुंग हिमाचल शृंग निवासित
ईशा महेशा।
तुंग हिमाचल शृंग निवासित ईशा महेशा। हर हर शंकर सांब सदा शिव ईशा महेशा। हर हर शंकर महेशा ईशा महेशा So before we close with one bhajan again, I just wanted to welcome some of my friends who are here this evening. Particularly, I want to welcome a very generous person to his community, one who I shared almost 9 years with at the borough, Ganesh, 9 years at the borough. And you've probably heard about the Ganesh festival in Felicity. Ganesh Raghunanan is his name, and Ganesh is the one who puts that festival together every year. He actually took it to Central Trinidad from South. You know, Ganesh festival was mainly South-based. And my friend Danmati, and of course another very important person in our group is here tonight. You haven't seen him for a long time, Lakshman. Yes. And Lakshman was there from the inception with us 60 years ago. In this group, and our Saraswati Kirtan Mandali is celebrating 60 years next year as a group. And we lost two important persons this year, Balrup, of course, and Lilauti Komal, both of them, who were founding members of the group, have gone beyond. But when Anand was speaking tonight, I was thinking about an appropriate bhajan to sing this evening. And this bhajan came to mind that says, राम नाम के साबुन से जो मन के मैल भगाएगा निर्मल मन की शीश मिट्टू राम के दर्शन पाएगा. And it says as what that the name of Ram is like sagun, like a soup. So wash the mind with this soup that's called the name of Ram, and it will make the mind pure, and you will get the darshan of Ram. And in the context of Pitri Paksh and so on, and the value of this human body, the verse says, you have Ram in every place. He is not far from you. Eyes cannot see him, but look into the mind's eye and light the flame of knowledge. This body which you pride was given by the grace of God. You have created bondage with the things of the world, yet knowing that they don't last. Instead, chant the great mantra, Ram Nam. Give up lies, deceit, love each other. Serve the guests in your home, and know that Narayana will be found in this way. So I wanted to share this bhajan with you this evening. Ram Naam ke sabun se jo मन के मैल भगाएगा निर्मल मन की शीशे में तो राम की दर्शन पाएगा. राम नाम के साबुन से तो मन के मैल भगाएगा निर्मल मन की शीशे में तो राम की दर्शन पाएगा. मंदिर में ज्ञान की ज्योत जलाएगा निर्मल मन की शीशे में तो राम की दर्शन पाएगा. राम नाम के साबुन से जो मन की मैल भगाएगा निर्मल मन की शीशे में तो राम की दर्शन पाएगा. हमको क्यों बिसराया है। राजा राम राजा राम राजा राम राजा राम। या शरीर अभिमान है जिसका प्रभु कृपा से पाया है। झूठी जग के बंधन में तूने इसको क्यों बिसराया है। राम नाम का महामंत्र ये साथ तुम्हारे जाएगा। निर्मल मन की शीशे में जो राम दर्शन पाएगा। राम नाम के साधन से जो मन के मेल भगाएगा। निर्मल मन की शीशे में जो राम दर्शन पाएगा। राजा राम राजा राम राजा राम राजा राम। झूठ कपट निंदा को त्यागो। हर एक से तुम प्यार करो। घर आए मेहमान की सेवा ना तुमसे इनकार करो। राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम। राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम। झूठ कपट निंदा को त्यागो। हर एक से तुम प्यार करो। घर आए मेहमान की सेवा से ना तुम इनकार करो। पता नहीं प्यारे तू तब नारायण में मिल जाएगा। निर्मल मन के शीशे में जो राम दर्शन पाएगा। राम नाम के साबुन से जो मन की मैल भगाएगा। निर्मल मन के शीशे में जो राम दर्शन पाएगा। राजा राम राजा राम राजा राम राजा राम राजा राम सीता राम राजा राम सीता राम राजा राम सीता राम राजा राम सीता राम राजा राम 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 सीता राम 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 राजा राम सीता राम राजा राम सीता राम राजा राम सीता राम राजा राम सीता राम। There's so many beautiful songs to sing, but time always runs out on us. Time defeats life. Life doesn't defeat time. नाम हरि का जप ले बंदे, फिर पीछे पछताएगा रे, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। नाम हरि का जप ले बंदे, फिर पीछे पछताएगा रे, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। तू कहता है मेरा में आया, तेरा मिट्टी में मिल जाएगा, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। नाम हरि का जप ले बंदे, फिर पीछे पछताएगा, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। वहाँ से क्या तू लाया बंदे, यहाँ से क्या ले जाएगा। वहाँ से क्या तू लाया बंदे, यहाँ से क्या ले जाएगा। मुट्ठी बांध के आया बंदे, हाथ पसारे जाएगा, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। नाम हरि का जप ले बंदे, फिर पीछे पछताएगा, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। बालापन में मेला खाया, आई जवानी मस्त रहा। बालापन में मेला खाया, आई जवानी मस्त रहा। बुढ़ापन में रोग सताए, हाथ पदा पछताएगा, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। नाम हरि का जप ले बंदे, फिर पीछे पछताएगा, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। जपना है सो जप ले बंदे, जपना है सो जप ले बंदे। फिर पीछे पछताएगा। नाम हरि का जप ले बंदे, फिर पीछे पछताएगा, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। नाम हरि का जप ले बंदे, फिर पीछे पछताएगा, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। So tonight we will sing Hanuman Chalisa and Arti in one. Hanuman, of course, is our Kuladeva Lay, the deity of the mandir. Shri Guru Charana Saroj Raja, Nij Man Mukur Sudhari, Varno Raghuvar Vimal Jasu, Jo Dhyayak Phalchari. बुद्धहीन तनु जान के, सुमिरो पवन कुमार। बल बुरी विद्या देहु मोहि, हरहु कलेश विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागर। राम दूत अतुलित बल धामा, अंजन पुण्य पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी, कुमति निवास सुमत के संगी। कंचन वरण विराज सुवेश, कानन कुंडल कुंचित केश। हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे, कांधे मूल जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप रखवारे, होठ न आज्ञा बिनु बैसारे, सब सुकल है तुम्हारी शरण, तुम्हारा को डरना, आपन तेज संहारो आप, तीनों लोक हाथ के कापे, भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे, नाशय रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा, संकट से हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे, सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा, और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे, चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा, है पर सिद्ध जगत उजियारा, साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे, कष्ट सिद्धि राम के दाता, बसवर दीन जानकी माता, राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा, तुम्हारो भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे, अंतकाल रघुवर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाय, और देवता कीर्तन धरहि, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करे, संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा, जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई, जो सत बार पाठ करे कोई, तुझहि बंदी महासुख होई, जो यहाँ पर है हनुमान चालीसा, होई सिद्धि साधी गौरीशा, तुलसीदास सदा हरि तेरा, जयनाथ हृदय महावीरा, जयनाथ हृदय महावीरा, जयनाथ हृदय महावीरा, पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति रूप, राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय, श्री राम। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव, त्वमेव बन्धु च सखा त्वमेव, त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव, त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः, हरि ओम। सियापति रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, जय जय सीताराम। Thank you, Arju and Ishan, for this very beautiful garland. I simply want to thank again everybody for visiting us here at the Kuladeva Lai Pitri Tirtha Shrine, as well as our virtual audience also, and Sankhya TV. This is our 5th annual Yagna, Shrad Yagna, and I hope we can go to 10. I really hope we can go to 10, but time marches on and age marches on, and until 74, I'm 76, and with God's grace we are here, and let's hope that we can really make 10. I'm setting a goal. I'm setting a goal of 10, I just want to tell you something. If you have a purpose for living, you're going to live. 50? 15? We set a goal for 15? 15, okay. We set a goal for 15. I'm for that. I am for that. But I really believe if you have a goal to live for, you will live. If you stop having a goal to live for, you just pass away. Last night I was saying to Sharma Lala, we were talking about, he said he's in retirement, and I said, Sharma, I want you to take the word retire and reframe it. Re-tire. And what you're really doing is restarting yourself. So you start fresh every day. So yesterday is gone, the last 2 hours gone, let's start fresh every moment. And welcome to Ambassador Patrick Edwards. We went to school together in UE. And I hope one day you write the story of your life at UE. But nevertheless, thank you all. God bless each and every one of you. And from our family to you, God bless. विरमामि